Okay, let's see if it's out of my system now. Do it! Welcome back, High Reviewers. I'm your host, Alissa, your #1 critic for edible greens and horror screams. We are on our 3rd episode now of High Reviews. Alright, so for those of you who joined me for episode 2, where I watched and reviewed the Carmilla movie, I did say that I really wanted to do a scary film this time, or at least hoping something very scary. Just to kind of preface things, it does take a little bit for me to get scared, or I should say a lot, because I tend to predict things in movies, particularly horror. You know, there's tropes out there, there's these cliched things that happen, and or just predictable things that we typically see. So I really appreciate it when a film can scare me and I don't see it coming, or it doesn't follow this formulaic thing that can be extremely predictable and very boring. In trying to find something that I hadn't seen yet, I came across the movie The Descent. 2005. It was made in the UK. All I know about it is that essentially it stars this woman who, if I'm not remembering correctly, like some kind of traumatic event happens, and then she goes into these caves with a group of friends, I believe, if that's what I recall from the brief thing that I read that I didn't want to spoil anything. Also, for those of you out there, if you relate to this, where claustrophobia is something that you experience or deal with or fear, I haven't personally felt claustrophobia, really. I not to the extent that I think those who suffer from it do. I felt like a little cramped at times, but there's plenty of things that I've done where very tight spaces, no movement at all, probably thicker air, harder to breathe, and I didn't panic. You know, I've sat in closets before. Don't ask me why I've done that, but I have. So I don't believe I have claustrophobia. However, the thought of watching this movie, I did feel like right away, like that feeling of getting squished, or not enough air, or what if I can't get out right away and I want to find the way out and run away? I can't, in the mind of this person or these characters, or just my thought of going into a cave myself. I've been in caves before, but they were extremely open, not tight-fitting, narrow passages, anything like that, for the couple that I've been in. So some elements we might be against, potentially discovering and or dealing with claustrophobia. And then just the element of going into a dark cave that is unexplored, main character and the group of friends that she's going with, and there might be some things running around down there or that they might encounter, who knows. And then also just the idea of going into a place and wondering, like, are you going to be able to find your way out or get out? That's something I'm wondering if that might happen too. For those of you who have seen my first 2 episodes prior, you know that with this I take an edible when I watch the movie as well. And this time I'm going to do something new as well. Puppy chow. What goes better with going cave diving than some puppy chow in your pack? Puppy Chow chocolate bar by High North. So there's, it's a 50 milligram bar, and the, I guess, suggested servings here. Beginner is 1 square, intermediate 2, experienced is 3. I'm gonna do the full 3, which equates to 15 milligrams. If the movie's really scary, that could make this for a very interesting experience. I am actually hoping to get very scared. I would love it if this movie scared me. I don't find that too often these days that horror films are scary. I definitely have some in a catalog of what I think is very frightening, and still can make me feel a little creeped out or scared. So we'll see if that's the case, and then taking this High North Puppy Chow chocolate bar to see with that combination how that goes. With that being said, let's do some bloody spelunking. 1 edible, 1 woman, 1 scary movie. It's time for High Reviews. Oh, fuck. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, oh my God. Oh. Oh my God. I really had no clue of how deep of a dive this was going to take me for watching the film The Descent. I was not prepared in the best of ways, for sure. I said to y'all that I wanted to get something scary. I wanted to watch something that would actually scare me. Definitely got more than I planned for. Genuinely scary in a variety of ways. As you'll see from some of the clips that I show you from my watching, I freaked out, screamed, yelled, was really disturbed at times, very engaged. That's the thing about this movie too, is that it immediately pulled you in right off the bat. I mean, the way it starts off is something seemingly innocent, but you can tell that there's subtle nods to things that are already going on, and also there are hints at things not being all that they seem, and then boom, go right into something extremely jarring and upsetting. But the way that it's shot, the pacing of the film, the variety of shots used, the color, the use of color, definitely, this was in 2005, so there's a certain feel to it that's familiar from that time, absolutely. So the uses of the blues, greens, yellows, and stark reds in this movie, which always plays into horror beautifully. So that was very apparent, but also just the way that the camera work was done in terms of to get into the characters kind of from their perspectives a lot. And there were certain key characters in particular, two of them, that I noticed this with back and forth, and I think that was intentional. That was Juno and Sarah, which for those of you who have seen the movie, you probably know why. I noticed that right away, even from the beginning of the film, and it just got deeper and deeper and more intentional as it went on. I was very invested, engaged, and sucked in immediately. Also, the scenery was just so beautiful, outside in particular, but even in the cave itself, while I wouldn't want to be in there, I mentioned that it might play into claustrophobia, absolutely did. While I don't think I felt claustrophobic, I know that I wouldn't want to personally crawl through some of the areas that they were going in. Anyways, coming back to it, beautiful scenery outside, definitely set the tone inside. The darkness, you're wondering what's in there, what could go wrong. So many things can go wrong, and so many things do. The other thing that was unexpected for me was the incredible emotion that tapped in. That I tapped into, that I felt, that I just experienced while watching this movie. And I say the incredible emotion in a variety of ways. There were multiple times that I got teary-eyed. I even cried at one point while watching the film. And again, for a variety of reasons, there's things that happen. There are some really tragic things that occur. There were multiple moments that I got very, I guess, not just, I wouldn't say invested, but I felt like I could potentially feel what was going on there with the characters in some of those instances, but just also overall witnessing it as a human being, watching other human beings interacting with each other in these insane situations, that I felt very emotional and sad and angry, loss and grief. There were some things that occurred in there that made me think about, oh my God, how could I deal with that if I was in such a position? It wouldn't be easy by a long shot. After the movie was over, I cried for a while. I needed to purge all of what was there that came up unexpectedly from all of this. It was not bad. It just brought up a lot. So it was a very layered movie. Another aspect of it that I appreciated, strong female characters, but they were also very different from each other. They all had very different personalities, and I think that speaks to the actors as well as the director and probably the direction in which they wanted to go. But the actors did a great job, too, of being genuine, being themselves, and having different types of personalities, different attitudes towards things, different ways of doing things, a different approach to how they interact with each other as well. There's a lot going on, subtlety and overt, but with women, it's more subtle, I think, in how there can be communication. Not saying that that is the preferred way or even that's just the way it is, because I'm a person that believes more in direct communication, being direct, being clear, and asking follow-up questions if things aren't clear to me. That's the way that I operate, and I know that not everyone's like that, but there's an assumption in some ways that tends to assume that women do not communicate directly, and I can understand why, because there is a certain familiarity that we have in a feminine space where a lot is made with eye contact even, or a certain body language, or a look, or maybe a response to something, and we don't say anything. However, I feel that's more passive or passive aggressive. So more direct is the route that I would encourage. But in the film, there was a lot of that subtle communication and language being shared between all of these characters, all 6 of them that were in the cave. There were 6 main people. That core group, they were all strong in their own way, in different ways. And then even seeing some of them evolve, and the main character, Sarah, it felt pretty natural for her to go from, I guess, experiencing this really awful thing that, of course, is going to change your life forever. It's going to change you. Whether we like it or not, any kind of trauma in life does change us forever. I think what that can look like can be different per person, per how we deal with it, and how we look at it or how we want to take it with us in a way. And it's different for everybody, and that's okay. But she definitely had an arc that started from a place of, I would say, she wasn't as strong in the beginning. And then by the end of the movie, you're just blown away by who she becomes. At least I was. It was incredible to watch. And so that was something that was really interesting to me, was Sarah's character being a really admirable yet also gruesome. Which takes me to the next thing, gruesome. There was a lot more gore than I anticipated. Now, I have seen very gory films. I'm not really into that genre where it's like just constant. I don't appreciate that. I feel like we're just here for blood and guts being smeared everywhere repeatedly, and there's no story, there's no direction really. That's just too much. I don't really care for that. If there is gore in a film or body horror, but there's still a story, great acting, it's inventive and interesting, I can get through that. Not meaning like I can get through it, but I will willingly sit down if it seems like it's something that might be interesting. The Substance is an excellent example of what I'm talking about with a body horror film. But the director of The Substance and Revenge, she did that as well. Brilliant films, but another time. So, a lot of gore. It wasn't something I couldn't handle, but there were definitely moments where I was like, wow, that is just brutal. It is, but when you're in an environment like that, it makes you think, like, is this what people resort to survive, or to just, they just have to? It's instinct. Maybe it's instinct that takes over for some of us. You know, there's fight, flight, or freeze responses, and even fawning. Not everyone, we don't know. I don't think we know entirely what we may or may not do until we're in it, to be honest, which is fair, I think, right? And some people had various mixed responses. But in particular, it was interesting to watch when people needed to fight for their life in different ways and how intense it got. The character Juno, I have a lot of mixed feelings about her. I will never look at the ice axe the same. And I think that that was extremely intentional. The actress who played Juno did an amazing job of making you love her at times, and I would say her fighting spirit for sure was very intense and not just admirable, but you would hope like this is who I want to be when in a situation like that. I'll be this I'll be this gritty and be this strong and be this resourceful and fast thinking and just like a fighter through and through. That's something I respect about her. The rest of her and some of the things that happen in the film, especially with the character Sarah, because Sarah and Juno have a very particular link, and their friendship is unique for what it's surrounded by, for what connects them. In life, when we go through things and we're having an experience, whether it be good or bad, I think that the people that you're surrounded by during certain things, especially tragedy, you get to find out not only how are they going to act as individuals, what choices they're going to make, whether they're going to grow or shrink away or fight or freeze or what have you, but also how they're going to treat everyone around them. And it's going to show you who your real friends are. That's something else that I felt was extremely prevalent in this movie, was that it's based around friendship, really. And you don't really know people as well as you think you might. Things get tested a lot. All types of relationships get tested often, especially when we're put in situations that we are not prepared for and that we are just trying to navigate in real time. There is a lot of focus on betrayal in this film. And to be in such a incredibly strenuous, life or death, high stakes situation for that to be tested really pushed people to the edge. And it also, how it culminated at the end was incredibly satisfying, but also harrowing at the same time. There is an incredibly pivotal, climactic, important moment between Juno and Sarah towards the end of the movie. It was incredibly satisfying. That was also another moment where I got very emotional, even though I respected and understood what was going on. But it really hit me, for sure. That was a good surprise, I think. As an indie filmmaker, I appreciate a lot of pieces that are used to make a film. And something that stood out to me more than anything, besides the story being really great and very simple and straightforward, easy to understand, not a lot of heavy dialogue either. It was just, you're in it, and it's pretty easy to understand what's going on. But the score of the film was fantastic, and there was this one score that was used in a number of scenes and for different things that were going on. It was interesting how the same score could be used for different moods, different situations, different things that were occurring, and it was so beautiful and fitting. And again, helped probably to raise the emotion up some more. But regardless, there was a scene in particular with the character of Beth and Sarah where that hit really hard. The score was used there. And then it was also used towards an end scene between Juno and Sarah. And then even when Sarah was on her own at one point, and the culmination of the movie too. It was just used repeatedly. And the fact that it was just so, it fit every single time. And it wasn't getting overused at all. I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like, oh my God, this again, that they just couldn't do something else. It was like, no. It was I could still hear the score playing after I finished the movie. I can hear it right now, even when I'm thinking about it, and in the best way, where not only was it fitting for the film, it fit all these different scenes. It elevated the emotion and the mood of what was going on, and it was just harrowing and beautiful at the same time. And I think that that's something that can stand out, should be something that stands out in a way that is mentioned and acknowledged, because I feel like there's a lot of films nowadays, and maybe even in the past too, because I haven't seen every movie on the planet, obviously, but where people can rely too much on a score to fix maybe some bad acting or a terrible scene or a scene that's feeling too slow, or maybe it's just not hitting right, and they rely heavily on the score to carry it. I didn't feel that was the case here. It elevated things in the best way, and I really, really enjoyed that. The end of the movie could be interpreted a few different ways, I feel like, and I don't know if that was intentional by the director. Also, by the way, I didn't know the director was the director of Dog Soldiers. That is, I've seen the movie once, but it lasted in my mind. It was pretty interesting take on a werewolf film. I'd like to watch that again, actually, because I feel like I would appreciate it even more now than I did back, when I saw it. But yeah, same director for Dog Soldiers. And so with this film, that makes a lot of sense to me, especially with a lot of the intense life or death type of scenarios and character interaction that happened, and also practicals that were used. I love the fact, probably because it was made in 2005, a lot of practicals, real blood, real blood. What I mean, though, is not heavily using CGI. There was barely any at all in the film. There was some, but compared to nowadays with horror and just, I'll say films in general, there was not a heavy use of CGI at all. It was practicals and special effects makeup, which was done pretty well, in my opinion, and it was gory. This shelf is filled with movies, not many shows, there's some, but mostly movies. And I have a couple stacks over there of Blu-rays specifically sitting over there. When I add a movie to my collection, it's because I feel that it is something very profound and unique and special, that it belongs up there. And when I add something, it's not often when I add something to this collection. In fact, I've reduced over the years because my tastes have changed a little bit. But at this point in time, when I add something, it is very intentional, very serious, and it's because I want to watch it repeatedly. I will watch it once, twice, who knows how many times in a year even, and I will come back to it. The Descent is joining that shelf. It's going to be up there. It belongs up there. I absolutely want to watch this again, and I highly recommend it for you, especially those of you who love horror. Now we are on to the edible portion of my review here. So I tried the High North Puppy Chow chocolate bar. And as I mentioned in the intro, I ate 3 pieces, so 5 milligrams per piece, and that was considered the advanced dose or what have you. First of all, as you can see, it had a nice texture. It definitely had like a little bit of the crispy crunch with the puppy chow. I would say that the chocolate, it was delicious. Very smooth, rich, creamy. It was really lovely. I actually wished I could have eaten the entire bar, but I felt like that would have been a serious mistake. Who knows what I would have been doing at that point when it all fully kicked in. But also I can savor it and have some more another time. But no, it was really delicious. Very smooth, very creamy, great texture. And for the effect, it was not fast hitting or something that was delayed and hit all at once or anything like that. It was a slow, gradual effect that continued on for a while, but not, again, it never was like feeling like go up, 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 or anything like that. It was just like this slow, gradual feeling. It was very warm. It felt good. It felt calm. I wonder too if it possibly affected my focus in watching the movie and just being really, really in it. I would like to think truly because of how much I feel that this film was just great the way it was, in a well-rounded way and really well made, that I just felt that way because of the movie and my experience watching it. There is also the potential that the Puppy Chow chocolate bar did have a little bit of a push to kind of focus a little bit even harder, even go down that rabbit hole farther. I don't know about some of y'all out there, but sometimes depending on what the edible is or strain or whatever you are into, that can sometimes have an effect where it can kind of make me more focused. I know that sativas can sometimes do that, but I think it's kind of hard to say because you never know how your body's going to react to a new thing, especially as an edible, for as far as like the time it takes or what it does to you or how profound of effect it has. But overall, delicious. The 15 did not feel like too much. I probably could have eaten 20 and been okay, and who knows what that would have been like, but probably not scary or anything. It maybe too, it also made the scares a little bit more intense because I was so focused in that I was able to respond to some of the jumps or some of the moments that were just profoundly unnerving. But overall, delicious, nice, warm, just pleasant feeling, calm, definitely felt it. I would absolutely eat this again. I still have some of I didn't eat the whole bar, as I said, so I have some left and I'm looking forward to eating more. So if you're looking for a tasty treat that is effective, has a pleasant experience, it lasts a couple hours, it's not quick and over, lasts a couple hours, I recommend the High North Puppy Chow chocolate bar. All right, folks, we are at the end of episode 3. Absolutely, you need to see The Descent. It is great. I know that there is a part 2 out there. I doubt it's as good as the first because normally they're not. I think I may see part 2 of The Descent at some point just to watch it. But the first one, The Descent from 2005, excellent film. Horror enthusiasts, get out there, see it if you haven't, watch it again, or any of you who liked it the first time, here's an excuse to watch it again. And I definitely recommend the High North Puppy Chow chocolate bar. Delicious, no weedy taste, good, great combination together. Absolutely recommend both. I would love it if you would comment on my video here. Please share your feedback or any questions that you might have. And as I've mentioned before in my other videos, and just reiterating, would love your recommendations for horror films for me to watch, edibles for me to try, and also there's that combo. I would love to get a recommendation of a horror film and an edible that I should have to go together to do an episode for. Would love that. Thank you all for watching. Please hit like, please subscribe, leave me your comments, and come back for episode 4 of High Reviews.